automation and digitization, and we started our impact investing journey 15 years ago. So we do have quite some experience and exposure in different geographies. But before moving to Schneider and the impact investing journey we had, I just thought as a wrap-up of the day, it would be interesting to just go back on some concepts on impact investing, so that for those of you who may not know, even though I think few of them have been discussed in the previous panels. But so impact investment are investment that I made with the intention to generate positive, measurable social and environmental impacts alongside with financial returns. So these are actually the three key components that would qualify for impact investing, and you can see them here. I'm sure you've seen that. I think some of you have seen that in the workshop. But basically on the left side of the spectrum, you have what is traditional finance. So just investing for financial return. Impact return is not necessarily the target, so I'm aware of potential negative impact, but I don't really care. I want to maximize my financial return. On the other side of the spectrum, you would find philanthropy. So here it's more, I accept full loss of capital, but I want to have very high impacts, and I really want to be intentional and catalytic on that impact. In the middle, you have what is impact economy, from responsible investing, sustainable investing, and impact investing. So responsible investing would be more around trying to avoid harm, mitigate the ESG risk, so not to do anything negative on planet and people. The sustainable investing is more about doing something positive. So it's intentional in the sense that you're trying to have a business that has positive effects alongside financial return. And if we move to the right again, we would find impact investing and what it is. And here you see that there is also a small spectrum between impact investors that are finance first versus impact first. Typically, impact investors can accept lower risk-adjusted financial returns based on a very strong impact returns, and really trying to contribute to the lasting solution, trying to have to make a positive change that otherwise wouldn't be possible. So that's really the idea of intentionality and being catalytic. So now that we've defined what it is and what we're talking of, just few information on the market sizing. There was this report from the Global Impact Investing Network that was released last month, sharing that today it is estimated that the market of impact investing is about 1.6 trillion USD of assets under management. It actually tripled in the last 5 years, so that's quite a big growth. And there is about 3,900 organizations that are working and that are impact investors. Though what I would like to attract your attention on is that out of these, only 3% are corporates. So that's a very small percentage. And yet, there are a lot of benefits. There are a lot of benefits for the companies and for the corporates to contribute to impact investing. So I'm sorry, I think the technical team had to change some of the slides. So that's not looking very good. But the idea was to show you the 5 type of the benefit that us as Schneider, we have seen as positive impact for the company in having impact investing practice. The first one is obviously that it contributes to our company sustainability targets, and that's the case for the different corporates. And it contributes to it in a quite innovative and complementary tools to other type of tools or means that we have in corporates. So it's really contributing to it, and at the same time really supportive the ecosystem of impact innovators. The second point is that by working with impact entrepreneurs and impact innovators, you are really inspired by all the innovation that they can bring. And that is also helping to, in a way, drive the long-term growth of the company, because they are the ones shaping what is going to be the trends for the future. So you can get inspired by that and bring also that innovation inside the corporate, which is definitely a big benefit that we saw. The third one is really about strengthening the thought leadership of the company and the reputation, because of course it also gives other type of network opportunities, other type of way to talk about what we do in sustainability. So that's something that we've seen, and with that comes the fact that it also helps attract talents, and it also reinforces the employee engagement. So for us, for instance, what we've tried and do is to build bridges between our impact investing practice and startup companies. And some of our employees are actually doing some pro bono or volunteering with our startups. So that's really help also the employees to understand better concretely what we're doing when we talk of sustainability in the company. And finally, the last one is about potentially providing market insights, trying to understand the trends of the market, some weak signals that we are seeing through this innovation and social innovations. So on this slide, there are a part that actually disappeared that I wanted to talk to you about. But I wanted to share some of the challenges that we've seen for the companies, for the startup companies, and more specifically in the emerging markets. So as I said, Schneider has been working in impact investing for 15 years, and we have different funds in Sub-Saharan Africa or in Asia, for instance, and we realized that when it comes to challenges for the startup, there are a few that were actually discussed also by the previous panels. One is the lack of patient capital and the lack of investors that are actually willing to take early stage risk in the companies. Another one is the lack of specialized investors. So, you know, having investors that are actually from the same sector as you makes it very easier to understand the challenges, understand the regulations, the technical challenges that a startup can have. And the last one is about the access to resources and access to networking and mentorship as well, which can become really expensive and difficult to access. So those three challenges, we feel that when you have on your cap table a corporate impact investors as an investee, it also benefits you. And notably, so we have the fact that they can get access to patient capital, because corporates are typically a little bit more patient when it comes to financial return, access to resources with networking, strategic alignment, and potential innovation and collaboration between investees and investor. And the last one would be around the market validation, because when you have a reputable investor that comes in and say, yeah, I invest in that company, it kind of builds a lot of credibility and visibility for the company as well. So now that I've shared a little bit of why we feel that corporate impact investing is really something, it really is really a strong lever for a transition. Here's what we have done at Schneider, and this is what we have built for the past 15 years. So we have actually invested 90 million euros in 4 different equity funds and 3 carbon funds, altogether representing 450 million of assets under management. I've shared earlier that Schneider is an energy company, and we have on purpose decided to have our thesis for and mandate for impact investing close to our core business, so that we can also encourage this type of collaboration and support for the investees. So our thesis is about really a just and inclusive energy transition. So yeah, so that's really the framework we're talking of. And now I'm just going to give you some details about the Asia fund more specifically. This is a 21 million fund that was and 21 million that were committed by Schneider together with Norfund, EDFI, and Amundi. So we haven't done that just on our own. We worked with partners and we worked with financiers to build that fund. And we are looking at 2 main goals. The first one is improving access to affordable and reliable energy. The second is accelerating the transition toward renewable energy and decarbonization. And to be able to do so, we have actually identified 5 main subsectors or 5 main sectors that we wanted to invest in: agri-solar, solar, biofuel and biogas, e-mobility, and electrification. So as you can see on the map, we have tried to diversify our portfolio both in terms of sector but also in terms of countries. So today we've got 13 startups in our portfolio, 6 in India and 7 in Southeast Asia across these different sectors. So before, the previous panel was talking about the theory of change, so that's also something that we have tried to work on and to implement, also to make sure that we were really working towards measurable impact goals and that we were really intentional about our impact. So here you can see again our long-term impact, which is around accelerating a just transition for a fair and inclusive society, also in a climate positive world, and the different activities that we put together as a fund, but also the outcomes that we are really hoping to see. The first 3 are outcome from our portfolio company. So decarbonize energy system, connect underserved community, drive economic growth via formal employment. And the last one is more an indicator of us as a fund, the impact that we want to have on the portfolio company. So it's really about supporting the entrepreneur's aspiration. And just on that part, so we are also newly signatory of the impact principles. So that's something that we try to put together to be a bit more stringent on how we measure our impact, to really show that we want to improve on that side as well. Users of IRIS Plus and of course the SDG goal framework. So again, you know, we're sharing a little bit of our impact. So we are trying to share that in terms of CO2. That's more the KPIs that we are tracking to really lead to our long-term impact. CO2 emission avoided, number of beneficiaries to gain access to clean electricity, formal job created, and kind of satisfaction score from our portfolio company toward us and the support that we could provide. So that's the indicators that we are tracking. So moving to the mandate, and I think that would resonate a lot with what was shared previously on the panel and the gap of financing that we could see in emerging markets, specifically for early stage companies. So our criteria are, of course, impact-driven company on the just inclusive energy transition, delivering triple bottom line, so again, social impact, environmental impact, and financial return, and also working with founders that are committed and you know, with a clear common value with us and clear governance. The type of funding that we can provide is from seed to Series B. We try to be as early as possible to really help them during that phase, with tickets from 0.5 to 2 million euros and investing in equity and quasi-equity. Again, trying to be also a little bit flexible in building the support we can provide financially to make sure that we stick with what the company needs. And finally, on the post-investment part, so we've said that active investors sit at the boards, and then trying to leverage our global and local network from Schneider, but also from co-investors to try and be catalytic in our investment as well. A very key word, I believe, is on the additionality part and how we can really help our startup to grow and to succeed. And so we've mapped a little bit of you know, the different parts where we could support. So from company strategy, environmental and social practices, that's also something that we are trying to implement with the portfolio companies to really progress on that front. On the technology side as well, financial planning, fundraising, or operational supports, and really trying to work with the investors on that. And as we really strive to provide our portfolio company with high quality, it was important for us to really do a satisfactory survey with them to understand what was actually our strengths and where we were adding value for them and where we could improve. Interestingly, here you would see that some of the results are linked to what I've shared earlier, which is 100% of the portfolio company actually considered they've received support beyond capital investment, and I think that's something quite important, as well as most of them said that the Schneider reputation helped them to grow their business with more visibility. So this is part of the benefits that we've shared earlier. And then, of course, we were trying to get some feedback on our own support, as I shared. So I think the best to talk about the type of support we can provide is to have Max also with us and sharing a bit more of Agros. Thank you very much for your attention on that part. And Max, I leave you the floor to talk of Agros.
Yes. Yes. Hi, everyone. Thank you, first of all, for the organizers for having me. So my name is Max. I'm a serial entrepreneur. So I'm from Belgium. I moved to Singapore 7 years ago. I had a first startup in healthcare, then worked for a few years as a consultant, and now almost 4 years ago, I decided to launch my second company in climate. So I'll explain a bit about what we do. Maybe I'll take the mic because it's a bit small for me. So our vision is really a world in which smallholder farmers continue to feed the planet. I saw the indoor farming, which I think is great. But personally, I believe that we still need outdoor agriculture to feed. We still need other things to eat, and therefore we need to reinvest in smallholder farmers and make their farms climate resilient. And it's really, really important for us, and it's at the core of our mission. And so who do we target, and what is a smallholder farmer? And there's millions out there in Southeast Asia, maybe not in Singapore, but the moment you start traveling outside of Singapore, you only see smallholder farmers. So these are typically 1 to 5 hectare horticultural rice farmers that frequently irrigate, that have using diesel or gasoline that represents 20% of their OPEX for day-to-day irrigation. They have degraded soils from low organic matter. They use a lot of chemicals that has been pushed by big organizations to continue the growth, but that means actually the soil is degrading. And so they're contributing to climate change without them even knowing, while also emptying their pockets. And so that's really the problem we want to solve here. And so how do we do that? So we have 2 main solutions that both increase farmers' income while reducing carbon emissions. So everything we do is linked to that. On the one hand, we have a solar irrigation system that entirely replaces the conventional diesel pumps that they're using. And this reduces up to $600 per hectare per year. So that's really significant if you know that these farmers usually only make around $4,000 to $5,000 a year. Then we also offer biofertilizers. So biofertilizers are biological, they're alternative to chemical fertilizers, and they can increase yields by restoring the soil and being less dependent on chemicals to grow. And so therefore our impact, which is really important for us, we can on the one hand double farmers' income, but we can also reduce carbon emissions, so up to 10 tons per hectare per year. So what is the benefit of a solar water pumping system? So you might know solar from rooftop, and usually when you look at rooftop solar, payback periods around 6 to 8 years. Pretty long, right? But then there's financing mechanisms that are used to make it very attractive, and for business owners, 6 to 8 years is pretty good. But for a farmer, it's long. And so what we did is we re-engineered the solar pump to make it affordable, and compared to diesel, the payback period is less than 2 years. So for a farmer, it's almost a no-brainer. Compared to grid-powered pump system, which is also out there, is 2 to 3 years. Still very, very attractive. But to make it even more attractive for them, we offer a pay-after-harvest scheme. So farmers can pay a 25% down payment and then pay the remaining as they harvest and as they grow their land. So what the target market is Southeast Asia. We're currently active in 3 markets. So the total market size is 6 million hectares that are currently irrigated by pumps, which is equivalent of $8 billion and millions of carbon emissions. So we're currently active in 3, expanding potentially in a 4th, and then there's obviously Thailand and Philippines who are also still waiting for us, but that's still in the more longer term plans. So once we enter, maybe that's an interesting projection, right? So once we enter with our product, which is a core solar pump, as you can see there, you start reducing the OPEX of the farmer, and it's affordable, it's high quality, you get this trust. This is the anchor on the field where the farmer really starts trusting you and see, oh wow, I save money and I reduce my emissions. Then you start selling them accessories for more precision irrigation, where they can really start lowering the water usage, for example, which is also a contributor to climate change. And then we start selling them inputs. We start increasing their yield slowly as they start switching to more sustainable alternatives. And so the business model is really like we enter with a solar pump, which is around $1,200. But then we can upsell season after season these accessories and these inputs. And therefore, we have an ARPU of around $3,000 per year, which makes our business very viable, very profitable. And that's actually the key of the message I want to bring here is impact and financial return doesn't have to be two different things. It can be embedded as long as the impact is embedded in the business model. The more solar pumps we sell, the more emissions we reduce, the more profits we make as a company, the more financial return an impact investor also makes. And so in terms of go-to-market, maybe quickly, so it's very key to create trust on the field. So we always start in a market, first 2 years B2C, we go very deep into the rural communities. And then slowly we widen the market by going B2B and strategic partners. Once these strategic partners have seen the trust, if you already installed a few thousand systems, okay, this really works, let's go for it. In terms of outlook, so we have ambitious goals, and that's also the main reason, and just to circle back on previous presentation, why we accepted a corporate investor on our board is a corporate investor we believe that can help us scale that fast. So we really want to go from 4,000 people impacted to 200,000. That would translate in 1 million tons of CO2 reduced, but also more importantly, $50 million generated into the pockets of these smallholder farmers to continue producing food that we eat on a day-to-day basis. And so I think the key of working together with a corporate, and sometimes when I do pitch to investors and they say, oh, there's a corporate on your cap table, I say, but wait, it's a corporate, but how they've structured it is it's a fund outside of the corporate. So when I work with Leslie, it's very fast. We communicate on WhatsApp. It's not the traditional corporate thing you have. And so I would suggest entrepreneurs in this room or any corporate here to set up such a separate fund structure and help startups grow faster with not only financial resources, but also human, technology, and other resources. Thank you.